Now, in 2 weeks, so if we take a look at the calendar here. So this is week 9 modules right now. Okay, week 10, and then week 11 we have our vocabulary quiz. And it's all over the Middle East vocab. Okay, and then we've got spring break. Okay, so everything from the Middle East we will be wrapped up and done with by spring break. Okay, next week we're going to talk about Iran, and then the following week we're going to do some review type stuff over just the Middle East in general. We'll take a look at a little bit about Yemen and the civil war going on there, and a little bit about Syria. But for the most part, that'll be a review week. All right. So this week, talking about Israel and Palestine. Next week, we'll talk about Iran. Following week, we'll review the Middle East. Okay. And then when we come back from spring break, we'll talk about Central Asia, Eastern Asia, then Australia, then Oceania, if we have time. I don't know how much time we're going to have for Australia and Oceania, but I'll do my best. All right. What you need to know about Australia, there's a lot of things that can kill you. Everybody lives on the coast. Moving on. I don't want to simplify it that much, but there are a lot of things that can kill you in Australia. It's crazy in terms of animals. So let's talk about your vocabulary. So everybody needs to get their Chromebooks out and go to Canvas, please, or modules. All right, we are heading to week 9 instructions. Okay, we're going to head to Quizlet link here, Quizlet.com. This should be the Middle East vocabulary. Now, like I just mentioned, in 2 weeks, you have a vocab quiz. If you want to practice the way your quiz will look, I would click on Learn. Okay? The way Learn does it, you either have a fill in the blank or you have a multiple choice question. All right? Now, for our quiz, it will all be multiple choice, but this does a good job of allowing you to practice with the definition and then choosing the term that matches up with it. If you don't want to do it this way, choose something else. You can do flashcards. You can do matching. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But we're going to spend 3 or 4 minutes on just refreshing our memory on these. There are 25 terms. Okay? We've talked about a lot of them already. But again, we want to keep it fresh in our memory going forward. So 3 or 4 minutes looking at Middle East vocabulary. Go ahead. Get there, dog. Carlos, you looking over that vocab? Please and thank you. Tom, please and thank you. Take about another minute and a half. right. 1111, make a wish. There you go. You ever heard of that? 1111. Hopefully it comes true. All right. We're done with your vocab. Come on, there we go. Next thing, we're going to Pear Deck. Okay, so go to joinpd.com. All right, this is going to be, we're going to talk about just the major cities first, and then the questions will come at the end, just as a review. The questions will be about where those cities are located. So what country, that's what you're really paying attention to. All right, there's joinpd.com and the code. Make sure everybody gets joined up. All right, and then we'll get going. Getting all good. So, you good? I'm good. Simon, we get logged in? Delete that I. Oh, there we go. Are you on the Google Meet and getting logged in? Or you guys still eating lunch? Okay, still eating lunch. Hey, we got one on the Google Meet. Give it about another 15 seconds, then we'll get moving. All right. We're only going to talk about 5 cities. Okay? Not every single one that's, you know, a big city is necessarily important in my eyes. Okay? It has to actually have meaning. Okay? And important to the general region of the Middle East. Okay? Excuse me. Good. There we go. First one is going to be Cairo, Egypt. And remember, we talked about Egypt being usually included with the the Arabian Peninsula, okay? And a lot of it has to do with their culture, but also they share a peninsula in the Middle East. Okay? If you take a look at the map here, okay, Cairo is located in northern Egypt. Okay? And this peninsula is technically a part of Asia. Okay? This is part of Africa. Okay? So that's why Egypt's kind of lumped into it. Cairo is, though, in Africa. It's the largest city in Africa with just under 10 million. But if you include like the general surrounding area here, because Cairo is supposed to be just what's in gray. But if you include the population that is around the bypass, you're looking at 20 million people. And you basically double the population. So, I mean, it is massive. And they live in a desert. So, one, you have to be very efficient in how you use your water, but also grow food. Okay? Secondly, you got to import food. Okay? Egypt has to import some of their goods because they have such a high population in a select area. Okay? But Cairo is one of those cities that are very interesting in terms of how they set up their city because they have, you know, these massive, well, the massive buildings are over here. But if you take a look at this picture, you have the massive buildings sitting here, but then the pyramids just to the left are right outside the city. So I mean, you can do everything that has to do with like kind of modern activities, but then just take a quick cab and go and see the pyramids. It's pretty cool on how they have designed their city. Okay, obviously located right next to the Nile. Okay, the Nile River flows north. Take a look here. Okay, this is Aswan. What's located here? If a lake has been created behind it, what do you think is located right there? How do you create man-made lakes? You gotta have a river. I'm not talking about a pond, I'm talking about a lake. How do you create man-made lakes? What, Doc? You got an idea? What do you think? You got to stop the river flow, right? So if you stop the river flow, water will build up here. But what is this called right here? A dam, thank you. Okay? You got to build a dam. That's Aswan High Dam right here. Okay, that's what stops the yearly flood that occurs up here. Okay, when it flooded this entire region. Okay, and if you've got 10 million people living in Cairo, do you think it's in your best interest to allow it to flood? Probably not. You're going to spend millions of dollars each year on flood control and then rebuild it. So they built the Aswan High Dam in the 60s so that Cairo could be the city it is today. Okay, so that's what stopped the annual flooding. All right, next city, Istanbul, Turkey. Okay, I personally think Istanbul is one of the coolest cities in the world. Never been there. I want to go. It's on my list. Yeah, I'm gonna have to save up to go, but you know, maybe one day. Istanbul is located in prime territory. Okay, because it is in the middle between the Middle East, North Africa, and Europe. Okay, Istanbul is located right here between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean. Okay, so it enjoys a very nice location because it can do business with multiple different countries and different continents. Okay, so they are a hub for one, people, but two, a lot of international business. Okay, so they are in very good position to grow. Okay, and there's a reason why their city is 15 million people and growing. Okay, it's because of their location. Okay, it used to be called Constantinople, okay, before Turkey became independent. All right, but that's what we know it as today, as Istanbul. And it is, you know, the connecting piece between three different continents, basically. It doesn't technically touch Africa, but it's an hour-and-a-half plane ride to Cairo. So not that far at all. All right. So here you can see that it lies in between the Mediterranean Sea and the Black Sea. So now they can ship goods by plane and by boat because this piece here is connected. All right. This is a canal. This was not natural. They cut this out, but it's obviously very useful now because you can make a lot of business deals along with trading through those two bodies of water. Next city, Dubai. Dubai is awesome. It's also very expensive. But Dubai is located in the UAE. What does the UAE stand for, Rachel? You know? Thought?
United Arab Emirates.
Thank you. United Arab Emirates. So, take a look here at the map. The UAE is located in the southeast portion of the Arabian Peninsula. Okay, United Arab Emirates. Okay, the two major cities here are Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Dubai is the one we care about. Okay, Dubai is spread, you know, vertically. They want to be along the coast, okay, because the coast brings the money. Okay, and they have access to water. Now, these things are pretty cool. Okay, these are both man-made. Okay, why would you create land besides for what's natural? What do you think? Why would you do that? Yeah, this is salt water. You don't want to farm in salt water. Tourism. Thank you. Right? So, this was just recently built. This one has been built for some time now. Okay? So, we go back to here, and we go to the satellite version. Okay, this is pretty blank, right? There's nothing really being built. It will develop, but it's very blank, right? You don't see anything on here. Well, let's go down here a little bit. This is what it will be. Okay, these are all houses, condos, anything you want, and it is prime real estate. What do you think that brings in? Money, absolutely. If it was created by the government then makes money off of it. Okay, so this is way for the government to make money. Okay, because United Arab Emirates got all of their money from oil. Okay, well, oil is a non-renewable resource, and currently oil is kind of on its way out. You know, it'll be around for quite some time, but it seems like the more and more we're pushing for green energy, that oil is, you know, I wouldn't say a dying industry, but it's not like it's making tons and tons of money anymore. Okay, so the UAE, who's very rich in oil, has to find other ways of making money, and that way is tourism. Okay, and they're now developing a financial sector, right? Like hedge funds and things of that sort to support the stock markets, right? And they build these things to attract people, okay? So let's take a look at these things. So here. So this is, you know, tourism central, right? Take a look over here. This is the major city, okay? Just that far away. But as you go around, you know, this is all developing. There's a reason why these cranes are built everywhere, okay? People are investing in these cities because they know they're booming. Okay? People want to go here. So hotels, any type of tourism attraction, shopping, you know, work right on the coastline. So that could be deep sea fishing, it could be water skiing. I mean, there's a lot of crap that you can do on the coastline, okay? But Dubai has all those attractions, right? And that's why it's so popular. Can you please go back? Please. All right, get you. We'll go to the next one, okay? Understand, Dubai, one, they were very wealthy in terms of oil, but they used that money to develop their financial sector and their tourism sector to bring in money long term. Right? Moving on. Mecca. All right, we talked about Mecca last week. Why is Mecca so important? Tom? What we talked about Mecca for last week? You remember?
Religion.
Yeah, we talked about religion. What religion? Yeah, Islam. Okay, followers of Islam are Muslim. Okay? I mean, you're right. It's just a difference in term. Okay. So Mecca is the center for Islam. Okay, it's a sacred city. It's holy to them. That's where they travel for Hajj. Right. This right here is the kind of centerpiece of Mecca. The black rectangle here is known as the Kaaba. They circle the Kaaba, okay, 7 times counterclockwise, and that's known as the Tawaf. It's supposed to represent, please. There we go. So, Mecca. Come on, okay. Right. Right here is the Kaaba. That is kind of obviously the overlooking it. Okay, but I mean, even these like little black specks, okay, those are people. They're circling the Kaaba, okay, counterclockwise. That's known as the Tawaf. It's supposed to symbolize the unity of all believers of Islam. Okay, they do this 3 or 4 times during their Hajj pilgrimage. Okay, so that's kind of their centerpiece of Mecca. But understand, just Mecca in general is, you know, holy to Muslims. Right? You cannot even enter Mecca if you're not Muslim. And so a very holy site for that religion. All right, moving on. Damascus, unfortunately, Damascus, was a lot better 10 years ago. Okay. Currently, in the middle of civil war. Okay. Syria has been in civil war for now 8+ years. So a lot of their country has been just destroyed through violence. The United States was involved during Obama, and then we kind of tried to step off a little bit under Trump, and then we're back involved now with Biden. There's so much going on in Syria, it's hard to keep it all straight. We're going to vaguely discuss it in 2 weeks, but there's so many different, it's not just about Syria anymore. It's all about whoever wins and whoever's backing that winning side in terms of what country is backing them. There's supposed to be all these benefits and things of that sort. So it's not even about the Syrian people anymore. It's more about who's going to benefit from the win. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's what the situation is. Damascus is not a very large city, but they are the ones that gave us running water, basically. They are the ones that have the idea of what's called a canal system on the slide. But in modern times, it's just water piping that gives us running water to all of our houses and schools and things of that sort. A canal system is just pipes that the water is exposed. What is a canal? Man-made waterway. So it's a shallow river, depending on how big you want it, but normally it's shallow. All right. In this case, it was very shallow, but it was just designed to carry water throughout the city, so people had access to fresh water, no matter where you lived in the city. Okay. Now you fast forward that to today. That's how we get the modern version of running water. Right. So they set the precedent, and we're at the front edge of technology 10,000 years ago. Okay. Now you're on Pear Deck. It's a terrible question. It's supposed to say in. Okay. In what country is Cairo located in? Okay. Do you remember? Hopefully you do, because we talked about this city quite a bit over the past month, but you'll answer that on Pear Deck. What? Yeah, that's true. Yeah. What country is Cairo? Yeah. I take that back. I don't apologize. No, it's a good question. You laugh at me. Yeah, here we go. Everybody answered? Carlos? Answered? We got 12 out of 15. We're going to lock them up in 3, 2, 1. Show the responses. Okay. Okay, I hope we're better, but it's okay. Most of us got it correct. Okay, it's Egypt. Remember, Cairo is located right at the start of the Nile Delta. Let's take a look up here. And you see this green patch? That's known as the Nile Delta. And that's where all the tributaries off the main Nile kind of branch off. Okay, and then Cairo is located right where it starts. Okay, so that's your answer to the first question. Second one, move on. Istanbul. Where is Istanbul located? What country? Istanbul used to have quite the problem about 10 years ago with kidnappings. They have since put more money into this and more security forces, but about 10 years ago, a lot of their government police force was relatively corrupt and not really doing what they should have been. And there's a lot of reportings of child kidnappings, and then those kids were then shipped to around southeastern Europe, Northern Africa, and the Middle East to basically work as slaves. But Turkey has then since put a lot more money into kind of reducing corruption, trying to put more money towards security. So it's still a problem, but not nearly what it was about 10 years ago. So Istanbul, we'll lock them up in 3, 2, 1. Okay, Turkey. I probably gave you that answer. That was my explanation. So if you were listening, good job. So Turkey's your answer. Remember, Istanbul is the connecting piece for Europe and Asia, located in between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean. Dubai. Do you remember what country this one's located in? Dubai was the one we talked about with all the fancy architecture and shopping and man-made islands. Okay, everybody get their responses in. We'll lock them up in 3, 2, 1. Good. United Arab Emirates, okay, also known as the UAE. A little bit easier to say, right? But United Arab Emirates, Dubai, the most populous and most popular city in the UAE. Okay? Known for tourism. 2 more to go. Mecca. Where's Mecca located in? Talked about this last week. I hope we get this correct. We talked about it several times. The response is in. Okay, we'll lock them up in 3, 2, 1. Good. Saudi Arabia. Okay. Saudi Arabia has, a few, hubs of population. Now you understand that Saudi Arabia is mostly desert. Right? Not all of it, but a lot of it is. Right? So you have hubs of populations along as you go through the country. Right? But Mecca sits down here on the southwest side. Okay? Most of the major cities are located on the coastline for obvious reasons. Okay? You have more job opportunities. And Mecca, is a little bit farther inland, but that is the reason why it's located there is because of the historical portion of it. Okay? Mecca will never move, right? Because it has such historical importances to the Islamic faith. Last one here. Okay, what country is Damascus located in? Okay, Damascus. Okay, everybody get your responses in, and we'll lock them up in 3, 2, 1. Good. Syria, the last country available anyway. Excuse me. Remember, Syria is in the middle of civil war, so Damascus is not growing right now. There's a reason why Syria has the largest population of refugees exiting the country. Okay? It's because of the civil war. Okay? Violence normally creates refugees. Okay? Syria's not the only one, but civil war usually brings an increased amount of refugees. Okay, Syria is not a very large country, but they had the largest amount of refugees by over 1 million. Okay, so not a good situation in Syria right now. There's not really an ending in sight. Okay, hopefully, in the next couple of years, we can find a solution. But as of right now, there's just ongoing fighting, and civilians are having to live with it. Okay. So a lot of people are trying to get out right now for obvious situations, for obvious reasons, I should say. All right, that it? Yep. And first. All right, let's take a look at your assignments. And you got 2 of them. Now you got the ABC challenge and you got the Ed puzzle. The Ed puzzle should be self-explanatory. It's all multiple choice. It's talking about the Israel and Palestine conflict. Okay, this especially really gets intense when after World War II, Israel is created as a country, which is a nation created from the Jewish community. Okay, and whenever you create a country, you have to take land away from somebody. And throughout history, whenever land is taken from anybody, are they very happy about it? No. If someone is ever happy about losing land, you break all rules of history. No one wants to do that. Okay? In this case, it's the exact situation. The Palestinians lost land. The Jewish community, okay, what we refer to as Israel, okay, gained land. And this is where the conflict begins. Okay? In terms of the modern way we look at it. So, That puzzle will go into more detail. I'll talk more about it tomorrow, so it's a little bit more understanding, but that's the very basics. It's about 10 minutes, 10 questions. You guys have done that puzzles with me over and over again. Then the ABC challenge, which is a review activity. You can do anything from Africa or the Middle East that we've covered so far. Right? So you have to fill in each box. Okay? Each box is a letter of the alphabet. 26 boxes. I've done one of them for you. So you may use physical features, countries, vocab terms, events, people, okay? Whatever it may be. You know, anything we've learned over the past, since January 5th or whatever it was we came back, I don't remember, you may use with this, okay? So like for A, we talked about the Arab Springs 2 weeks ago, okay? So that's the term, Arab Springs, but you also have to tell me what you learned. Okay? So the Arab Springs was a democratic revolution in 2011. Right? I'll be around to check on this assignment, but a lot of people keep forgetting about what you learned. They'll just put Nile River. Well, what about the Nile River? What did you learn about the Nile River? Right? And do not put, which I caught class, Indian Ocean is an ocean. You don't say, really. Okay, you got to be a little bit more detailed than that. Okay, because a 7-year-old could tell me the Indian Ocean is an ocean. Okay, it's in the term. So tell me a little bit about it. Okay, it could be like the location or some kind of a special fact that we talked about. Okay, or something that you just kind of picked up on. All right, but please make sure you include what you learned about the term you use. Okay, so don't make it harder than it is. You don't have to just sit there and think. Okay? If something comes to you, write it down, but use your assignments, use your maps, use your vocab. All that stuff is free game. Okay? The only stipulation I put was you can only use 5 countries, because if you wanted to, you could probably find a country for each letter, and that's not really the point. Okay, you can use 5 countries, and that's, in my opinion, used for the harder letters. Like if you can't find something to go with a certain letter, use a country, because like Africa's got 50 countries. So a lot of Z's, some Y's, there are countries that don't start with the stereotypical letters that you normally use. So that'll help you fill in some of those difficult letters. Okay, so 5 countries at max. Please make sure you tell me what you learned about it. Yeah, vocab, assignments, maps, all that stuff. Use it. Help yourself. Okay, those are your 2 assignments for this week. Does anybody have any questions? Those of you on the Google Meet, do we have any questions about that assignment? Okay. I know that'll take you some time, but it's also not a very difficult assignment because you can use all of your resources that you've completed in the past. Okay. I'll be around to help you. Those of you on Google Meet, you need help, please reach out to me and I will get back to you as soon as possible. If you don't have any questions, you're free to go, and I'll see you tomorrow.